Now that Tyranitar has this beautiful battle pass and it got some buffs a little while back, I think it's a good time to talk about everything going on with this Pokemon in today's Ultimate Tyranitar Guide. We're going to go over held items, boost emblems, all of the moves and how exactly they work, as well as 2 matches with Tyranitar inside this guide. Tyranitar, an intermediate all-rounder, and I would actually say this Pokemon has a lot going on with it that you might not know if you haven't played Tyranitar before or haven't picked it up in a while. First, we'll start out with Larvitar right here, and your first 2 moves, Rock Polish and Bite, which actually have more going on with them than you might think. Rock Polish is actually an interesting early move for Tyranitar. On its face, it's just a little dash where you're able to move around the map a little bit better, and as you can see, it does some damage to our enemies right here. But it also does something else. You can see at the bottom right of our screen, if I do hit an enemy with it, I get a buff, which increases damage that we deal for a short time. Dealing damage to this substitute doll, I'm doing 187 on my basic attacks right here, 243 on my boosted. If I hit with this, I'm doing 215, 215, and 279. So you can actually use Rock Polish in combination with your basic attacks and Bite to secure wild Pokemon and things like that. Also, because Rock Polish and Bite are both moves, if you use a Razor Claw, this will proc that extra damage as well. This is a lot of the way that you're able to secure some of the wild Pokemon in your path when you're playing early with Tyranitar. And a lot of times you're not going to get Central Area lately because of Mewtwo. Bite is an interesting move. As you can see, it deals a good amount of damage. It's your highest burst move, especially if you pair it with Rock Polish right there. You kind of have like a 1-2 punch of, you know, a good amount of damage early. It's going to help you secure a lot of contested wild Pokemon in your lane. And it also has an additional function if your opponent is below 50% health. This feels like the earlier version of Dark Pulse, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. You can see my Venusaur here is below 50% HP. And if I hit him with Bite, he will actually become immobilized right there. So, oh, he just evolved. Thanks, Venusaur. So I'm attacking him. If I hit him with Bite enough times, you can see he actually does become immobilized in these moments. You see that brief little purple aura around him right there? That's that quick immobilization. It's less than a second, but it can actually be the difference maker between someone trying to get away from a goal zone or run home. So before you evolve into Larvitar, you actually can take advantage of the fights really, really well with a move like that. Just setting up moments where your enemies can't go home. They might not expect that you're going to actually be able to stop them when they're trying to leave a goal zone. Again, if they're at 50% health, once the move is finished, so the damage that takes them there can be part of it, they do get that brief immobilization. Now let's talk about your next 2 moves. Well, let's talk about Dark Pulse and Stone Edge first. Dark Pulse is this move that deals damage in this kind of sweeping cone right here, and it has a few things about it that you might not expect. Just like Bite, it also has an immobilization effect on it if they're below 50% HP, and it also does more damage if you recently hit them with Dark Pulse. It's kind of an interesting setup for a move right here. I love that Giga Drain Venusaur is in my face 4 levels higher right now. But it actually lets me explain this pretty well. So you can see the immobilization when I hit them right there. You can also see that I'm getting 2 pops of damage right here. I've got the 440 and I've got the extra damage that you're seeing right there as well. That is because if you hit an opponent with Dark Pulse and then hit them again while they have this aura around them, you do an extra pop of damage. Let me show you here on the substitute doll. Dark Pulse, 847. 847 plus 250 or so on there, and you actually have a good amount of time to deal with this. You can see the aura lasts on the substitute doll for quite some time. I think it lasts for something like 10 seconds, and Dark Pulse's actual cooldown is like 5. So you can cast this, be fighting your opponents, waiting for your Dark Pulse to come back, cast it again, extra damage. They could be immobilized, and they still have that aura around them. The other really nice thing about Dark Pulse, and I think it's the reason it's the premier move for this slot over Stone Edge, is because you can move with it. And that sets up a lot of great combinations with your other moves, and it also lets you reposition Tyranitar. One of Tyranitar's biggest problems is enemies can get away from it, and with a move like this, you're actually able to fight your opponents and continue pushing and repositioning yourself inside of a fight. It's extremely important that you're able to do that. Before we move on to our other move, I'll also show how this combos with Sand Tomb. You can actually cast this before you throw your Sand Tomb and basically jump into your opponents with a Dark Pulse on as well. So it's a really cool combination that you're able to do with these two moves, and it's something that you cannot do with Stone Edge either. So it could be another reason that you may want to run Dark Pulse with your Sand Tomb moveset. Now let's talk about Stone Edge. Stone Edge is a really interesting move. The thing I love most about Stone Edge is how well it synergizes with a Razor Claw. Unlike Dark Pulse, you are not able to move around when you use it, but what you are able to do is kind of move around and have three basically charges of this move here. As you can see, even if you miss an enemy right here, you still have these three charges of Stone Edge that get bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you combo this with your basic attacks, setting up sort of a basic attack, you know, after each one or a couple into the next Stone Edge, basic attack after each one or a couple into the next Stone Edge, you basically have Stone Edge ready to go right away, and that gives you excellent procs of your Razor Claw. If you use your Stone Edge like back to back to back like this, you're only going to get one extra bit of damage from your claw. So I feel like the real combo with Stone Edge is definitely the Stone Edge, basic attack, Stone Edge, basic attack, Stone Edge, basic attack. At least that way you get a couple extra pops of damage from Razor Claw, you get your basic attacks in there, and you're doing a ton of damage to your enemies. Also, this is a much bigger area effect than you're getting with your Dark Pulse. As you can see right there, by this third one, it is massive. Now, enemies that are closest to the Stone Edge take more damage right here. 789 as opposed to 605. This move also, its plus version, will give you even more damage. The plus version of Dark Pulse, by the way, I didn't mention this, has a lower cooldown, which is great, but if you are using Stone Edge, you're going to get more damage with this move once it gets its plus version. I still think maneuvering wise, it's just so important to have the other move set on Tyranitar, but there are options to play this for sure. All right, we've talked a lot about the early Tyranitar, which unfortunately for some players, you're going to stay there for a while. Let's now talk about the late game Tyranitar. This is the reason you play this Pokemon. At level 9, you choose between Ancient Power and Sand Tomb. I think both are really solid. They're a slightly different playstyle, but you can excel with both. And once you become Tyranitar, a lot of things change for this Pokemon. Every time you use a move, you get this stream of sand around you that not only is dealing damage to your opponents as you're fighting them for 3 seconds, you have this like power around you up, it is also increasing your defenses. Let me show you right here. So you can see my defenses 248 and 187. As soon as I use a move, they jump up to 407 and 308 for those 3 seconds that I have used a move. Every time that sand stream is up, you are tankier. So it's really important to combo your moves with Tyranitar to keep that stream up while you're fighting. Now let's talk about Ancient Power. There's so much going on with this move. It's really great. I'm sure that you have seen this Tyranitar running at you in a menacing way, and it is very menacing. You can see above Tyranitar's name right there, or where my name should be, you see it says Hindrance Resistance. You do reduce hindrances that you receive when you are charging this move up. You also increase your move speed as you're running at opponents, so it's a good way to dive into the enemies that you're looking to KO and make sure that you can get close to some of your opponents. You also can see you can stand right here and charge this up. You do not need to be moving while this charges. However, of course you can. You can charge it up the entire time while you're sitting in a bush waiting for an enemy to come by and then jumping in on them. It does a lot of things, like I said. Let's start with the fact that it provides you a pretty hefty shield. So, as you can see, when you start charging this, your shield is getting bigger and bigger and bigger right there. Once it hits that line, it's the biggest it's going to be. The shield lasts, I think, for like 3 or 4 seconds or something like that. So you are generating your first shield by just charging this move up. You could also simply tap this move and you can start it, but as you can see, your shield is going to be much smaller if you do that. There are times inside of combat where you're going to want to just tap it. You're right next to an enemy and you want to tap it so that you can start your sand stream, so you can start your true damage, which we will get to, or so that you can stun your opponents, because Ancient Power has a stun to it. You can see when I stomp on the substitute doll, the little stun stars around its head pop up when you land the Ancient Power. Also, as you can see, if you don't land this Ancient Power on anything, you get no stun from it. So it's really important to make sure something is in the range of this move for you to get that first initial stun. Now, Ancient Power has a second effect after that. You can see charging right here. What this does is it does more damage to your opponents. Let me show you. You first have to hit with Ancient Power. Then you can throw this, which deals more damage and gives you an additional shield. So you can stack huge shields with this. You could run into your opponent with a fully stacked shield, slam down, and then throw this again to generate another shield while you are fighting them. Not only are you able to do that, you also get a larger shield for the more enemies that you hit. So if you line up your Ancient Power well, you could run into a group of enemies and then quickly throw this move right here, hitting them and generate a larger shield. It stacks up to 3 times. So if you hit 3 enemies with it, you get a larger shield than you would if you hit 1. The positioning of this is extremely important in some of the later fights inside the game. You can also see after you use this move, you see that sort of white sort of heat that is coming off of Tyranitar's back right there. That is the true damage, the piercing damage that this Pokemon gets. You can see the numbers pop up in white when you have this damage on right there, and you can actually continue to use moves to keep your sand stream up and keep that true damage hitting enemies. True damage ignores enemy defenses, so you're just doing a ton of damage. It also pierces shields, so if you have an opponent like a Crustle or an Umbreon or something like that that has low health but a massive shield, you can actually pick up some really sneaky KOs with this combination. As you can see here with this true damage, Venusaur's shield is going nowhere, but Venusaur is taking damage to its HP bar instead of to that shield. And again, in some fights that can be huge. I should also mention that the second hit of stored power right here will slow enemies briefly when you hit them. Like I said, there's so much going on. There's like 90 things going on with one move on Tyranitar. It's seriously crazy. The plus version of this also strengthens the shield that you get for Tyranitar, so it just makes you even tankier when you get into some of these fights. And just like any of your moves that create a sand stream, this also gives you those increased defenses by 65% when you use a move. So Ancient Power just combos extremely well with really everything Tyranitar's got going on. Moving in, attacking your opponents, generating extra shields with the second hit of it, at the same time using your auto attacks, using your Dark Pulse. And let's talk about how Dark Pulse combos with Ancient Power, because if you use Ancient Power, the heat that is generated off T-Tar's back, I can't remember what it's called, but it sets up your true damage, your piercing damage right here. You are able to keep that up by continuing to use Dark Pulse. It keeps your sand stream up, and at the same time, it keeps your piercing damage up. So you continue to keep this true damage on your opponents. It is massive, and that's why you often see Ancient Power paired with Dark Pulse Plus. Now let's talk about Sand Tomb. Sand Tomb is an equally cool move that has a ton going on. You jump into your opponents right here, and you can see you actually do jump over some walls. You create this huge area effect that is dealing damage to your opponents. Inside of it, you are dealing true damage. Inside of it, you are taking reduced damage by 25%. It slows your opponents. You're able to use a move that is pulling enemies towards you during it, like, oh, Tyranitar, I swear. Look at this. Him reading a scroll when he scores. Let me show you this. This right here, that's him reading all of his move descriptions. It's so long. They do so much. All right, let's talk more about Sand Tomb here in 1 second. So let's take a closer look at Sand Tomb. You leap to your opponents, and you can see you stun them when you leap into them. You can also pull them with the second hit once they are inside the Sand Tomb. The pull doesn't do any damage, but it does bring your enemies closer to you and sets up some good moments for a fight right here. As they're trying to leave, you can use your pull and bring them back in. As you can also see, we've got the true damage inside there. They are taking damage every half second that they are standing inside the Sand Tomb, and they are also being slowed inside the Sand Tomb. It's a lot, and as I showed a little earlier, you can use your Dark Pulse. You can kind of cast this and then cast your Sand Tomb, so you jump right into the fight with your Sand Tomb with your Dark Pulse. It's a really cool combination that you can use in a lot of these fights, and Dark Pulse has a pretty low cooldown in general, so it's a really nice way to set something like this up, just jumping on in, dealing some extra damage, and getting ready for a big fight. You can also also use an eject button for Sand Tomb, and this will allow you to catch some of your opponents really by surprise here. So the range that you can jump is pretty telegraphed. We know what Tyranitar's up to, but from here you could actually jump and eject partway through and still make it to some far away opponents. And this is great for getting things like Glaceon and Espeon, you know, Pokemon who want a backline, Chandelure who's way away, or something like Mewtwo Y, who of course plays at extreme range. It's a little hard to get right next to somebody with Sand Tomb because they can kind of see it coming, but if you keep your eject button up, you're able to set up some really cool plays with this. Obviously, a lot of people wouldn't expect you to be able to make such a massive jump with Tyranitar, and I think eject button is pretty necessary on the Sand Tomb build for this reason. The plus version of this has this up for 8 seconds. The basic version of it has it up for 6 seconds. So with a 10-second cooldown on this move and an 8-second uptime at level 13, you're able to really have your Sand Tombs up all the time you are fighting your opponents. Your only question is, how are you going to position it? It is a huge stun that you can use to get tons of enemies. And as you can see, even if you're kind of on the outside of it right here, let me try to set it up so I can show you this best. Venusaur's like chasing super hard. Even if they're kind of on the outside, they still get the stun right there. So you can set up some really great stuff if you land and hit multiple enemies on the opposing team. Now let's talk about this Unite move, which just got a buff actually. So when you first cast it, it doesn't do anything except give you your bonuses. It looks like it should do something, right? Doesn't that stomp looks like it's gonna do damage to your opponents, but it gives you a move speed buff, a cooldown reduction buff, and it gives you a max HP shield when you cast it. I think the trickiest part of this move is being able to use it and then continuing to fight, because as soon as you use it, people will often just run away from you. That's, I think, the biggest problem with this Unite move. As you can see, this Unite move changes Tyranitar's attacks into sort of this big area effect stomp, so you're able to hit multiple enemies, but you're not, I don't know, it's a little tough. They can just start walking away, and I think that's what happens a lot to T-Tar. You're stomping on them and they start moving. You can see it gives you an execute threshold, and that's the biggest thing about this move. You just saw it there on Venusaur. This doesn't work on wild Pokemon, but it does work on enemy Pokemon. That execute threshold, if you deal a basic attack damage with your Tyrannical Rampage, this big stomp, and they are under that execute threshold, that's an instant KO. Now this move can't critically hit or anything like that, but it can be affected by true damage, as you saw. So you're jumping in, you're dealing this true damage, you're ignoring all their defenses, you're ignoring all of their shields, and you're stomping on them. And if you get it below that bar, instant KO. Really telegraphed, a little easy to play around, but it did just get a cooldown reduction. So you're actually able to use this a lot more inside of a match, and I've been working on being more aggressive with my Unite move because of this. Sometimes I've also noticed I can actually use my Unite before I go in, jump in with Sand Tomb, and set up a moment they might not expect. The other thing about this is, I don't know what it is, but when an enemy has that execute bar near their head, like, they are just scared. This bot won't do it, but they start to run away. There's something about that bar right there that just makes you go, oh, I have to get out of this fight. I just need to get away from what's happening right here. And in general, yeah, they do need to get away from what's happening. The buff Tyranitar got to its Unite move is its cooldown. So now you can actually use this move and reliably get it back if you use it before 3 minutes, 30 seconds or so. If you KO one group of birds, and that's it after you use your Unite move. You see my Unite move's at 0%. I KO this one group of birds, 4 wild Pokemon, because KOing wild Pokemon charges your Unite move. If you do this, you'll have your Unite move back in 1 minute, 30 seconds. 90 seconds, you will have it back. Now, of course, a lot of the time you're KOing way more wild Pokemon than that. So I really recommend with Tyranitar, start getting more aggressive with its Unite move, because you can get it back really, really fast now. Now that the timer is lower, I think it's time to be a lot more aggressive with this move. Also, of course, scoring gives you a boost to your Unite move charge as well. I think it gives you like 12%. So right now I have my Unite move back already. Again, 3 minutes 30 seconds, you're kind of safe. I've used it at about 3 minutes and then ran and KO'd some wild Pokemon and still had it back for the 2-minute Rayquaza fight. So I think you can get really, really aggressive now with the timing of your Unite move. Look at the jumps, we're jumping in. We use our Unite move. Stomp, stomp, stomp. All right. Let's talk about some things that work really well for Tyranitar item-wise, boost emblem-wise, and then let me show you a match with a couple different move sets for this Pokemon. We've got a Sand Tomb match, and we have an Ancient Power match, one with Dark Pulse and one with Stone Edge. For boost emblems, something like this works really well. 6 white, 6 brown. This also gives some extra HP, some extra attack. The nice thing about more HP for Tyranitar is the longer you're inside of a fight, the more your Sandstream is up, the more your defenses are up. So the extra HP I think is really, really strong for this Pokemon. Another build that I love is this right here, my Don't Roam with Scissor. Very similar, white, brown, blue. This gives you less HP, but a little more attack and a little extra critical hit. So this is really fun also if you want to lean more into the damage of Tyranitar. For held items, there are tons of good options for this Pokemon. You could lean heavy into getting yourself extra attack damage with an attack weight and a weakness policy. This is very, very strong because Tyranitar is always up in the mix when they're fighting. If you have a fully stacked attack weight and a fully stacked weakness policy, your damage is just off the charts. Also, Focus Band is a really great item for this Pokemon because your defenses are so high, because you are in combat for so long. It's very likely that you're going to be surviving through a barrage of what the enemy is throwing at you long enough to get your HP back with a Focus Band. And Tyranitar has a ton of HP. It also just got an HP buff in that patch. It was like 2 patches ago where all this happened. So the extra HP makes Focus Band even better. Even in a curse item meta, this is still a really strong choice. Here are 3 items that you can slot into different spots there depending on what you like. For instance, if you don't like stacking or you don't want a Focus Band. Muscle Band, very good. You do a lot of autos with this Pokemon. It will give you some increased attack speed. It will give you some increased damage. Razor Claw, one of my favorite items on this Pokemon. You use a move and then you auto. You use a move and then you auto. So you get all that extra damage, and it also slows your opponents, which makes it harder for them to get away from you when you're trying to stomp on them with your Unite move and things like that. And then Rapid Fire Scarf and Muscle Band actually do work with your Unite move. So you can have your Unite move stomping faster than you would have otherwise if you have these 2 attack speed items on. It's kind of cheesy, but it is pretty fun. Let's talk about 3 items that I think are not super ideal on this Pokemon. Scope Lens, Curse Bangle, Drain Crown. First off, Scope Lens is not bad. It gives you extra critical hit and extra critical hit damage, but you do a lot with Tyranitar's moves as well, so I don't know if you need to lean too heavily into critical hit. Not a terrible item at all, but none of your moves critically hit, and you could probably find something better. Curse Bangle, on the other hand, does not proc with true damage. So this item, once you become Tyranitar, either build has huge amounts of true damage, and this item will stop affecting opponents with that true damage. For that reason, I think you can't really run it. And then Drain Crown is unfortunately quite underpowered in the game. It only gives you your healing off of your basic attacks, and Tyranitar just has so much more going on, and there are so many better choices. Sure, you could run this item. You will get a little healing out of it, but there are way better options. Focus Band especially. If you want the healing, just take something like that. You'll see a lot of players running something like this, throwing in a Razor Claw, throwing in a weakness policy, something like this setup right here. Very, very strong for Tyranitar. Now, let me show you a couple Tyranitar matches highlighting these movesets and a couple different item choices. For game 1, let's do Ancient Power, Dark Pulse. All right, we're gonna be heading to the top path here. It looks like with Greninja, should be interesting, me and lane Greninja. I am stacking this time for this build, so we're gonna try to get a few of our stacks in. It can be a little tough with Tyranitar to get some of their stacks, but we'll do our best. We get that. Crustalante stacks really well, yeah. It's a hard one to stack into. He might KO us, especially with the help of his buddy there. Yeah. He's a tough one. We're gonna have to run. Looks like Greninja's cleaning this up on our side. Crustal's looking for some KOs, and Mewtwo is here early. It's only level 4. We got a level 5, though. There still isn't level 5. If we can get him Mega, we win this fight easy. Nice. He's Mega. Let's go. Just keep A pressing, dude. You're Mega. Oh, no, he Mega. Now we gotta run. Yeah, retreat. Retreat is right. That's the correct move. We only got 1 stack so far. We're not yet level 5. This fight is kind of continuing when it really shouldn't. They're chasing Greninja hard. Why are they chasing Greninja so hard? Oh, well. We're gonna try to stack. Ah, we can't. We got that, but we can't stack into a Glaceon here. We're just gonna have to keep farming up. Look for our stacks as the match goes on. Not able to pick up a KO there either. Lapras is center on time. We're not. They're there with Mewtwo. The best we can do is just steal this and move on so it doesn't Mega. We got it. It did Mega. We're gonna have to run now. Running from Glaceon and Mewtwo. They're coming down towards this bottom goal. Try to hit gather here, but it turned into keep the pressure on. Now we're getting rocked. Dang, I was hoping I could steal that. Our Mewtwo can fight on goal pretty well against this squad. I'm gonna have to go top here. Well, Crustal's there. Looks like he's not leaving. I think that Crustal's gonna out-secure me for a bit. I'm gonna try to help my team bottom. Look for a stack. Look for possibly just an opportunity to win a fight here. The stun, we get him. It's our best bet. Lapras had a little more, but I really wanted that stack there. Let's see if we can get this objective and get close to our level 9. Obviously, that's when things really change for this Pokemon. I'm going to try to stack up, too. I got 2 stacks. They're obviously rotating top, so this is an opportunity for me. This could get me my 9. Very close to it. Got my 9 and another stack. Now I'm going to run top. Grab this really quick. Reggie's still here. Glaceon's not. Da-dunch. Decidueye, are you coming back? He is. He should not have done that, but he did. A lot of damage. Not running the focus band this time, so I'm a little squishier, right? Crustal's here. It's a tough one. I tried to get it with my Dark Pulse there, wasn't able to do it. They're going to push towards this fight, but we do have a Unite. If they push, we might be able to pick up some nice KOs here. Let's see if they do. Hoopa. They are. We got 3. 3? That's something. I accidentally have my eject button on. That's a mistake. I meant to have a full heal on. Let's try to use that to our advantage somehow. We get 2. This is a perfect score right here for the squad. Using that shield there to hopefully get the KO on Mewtwo. I almost made it. Really, really close. That thing... Oh, no. They're letting it leash. Don't let it leash, guys. You have to... You can easily solo it, Greninja. Oh no. Okay, we're gonna run bottom. Greninja can easily solo an objective. Now we're in trouble because they're gonna make it there in time. Venusaur secures it. Nice job, buddy. Ooh. Decidueye again comes back through the portal. Almost got him. If my Dark Pulse hits there, we get him. The nice thing about this build, it's kind of a weird way to look at it, but one nice thing is when you are not using Focus Band, you never have to worry about accidentally like losing your Focus Band in a fight you shouldn't. You're just able to just kind of fight. Uniting here because I can. I'm trying to get myself a shield, make something happen. Unfortunately, this was just a rough fight for us on this goal zone. Our Mewtwo is not Mega. Yeah, they ripped us up. That's okay. Let's go get some experience here. We'll charge our Unite back up, get ready for our next fight. They might try to push this in top. Ooh, Crustle got a 4. He got a Quadra. Oh, buddy. Got my Ancient Power upgraded. They do not appear to be pushing with that at all. I'm at 69% on my Unite. I'll have it back very, very soon. 78. We've got a goal zone with a strong scoring opportunity in the top path if we're not able to kind of make a fight happen very well. We really need a front line for our Mewtwo here. Watch out for catches from Crustle, basically. Oh no, Greninja, what are you doing? Back up. Oh wow, we found Decidueye. Crustle just united. I want to back away from that for 1 second. Unite move for Mewtwo. Let's unite, try to get in there. Got him. Crustle's just running. He's just gonna keep running. Got him. I deal true damage, so him trying to do that was never gonna work. Decidueye with a good unit move right there. Rip. 3 down, rip it. Oh. Catch him. Good Greninja Unite. Rest of my team's hitting. We're split. I wish we weren't split. But we do have a Solar Beam Venusaur. Koopa coming in with a Unite move. That's going to be a good Unite. Greninja gets it. Jeez. I think Mewtwo at that point should peel off and score. But it worked out. Or excuse me, should not peel off and score. He did peel off and score. I think he should probably not do that. I'm trying to watch these 2 goals here. Couldn't get him. Couldn't get him. Tried. Hoopa's looking for something.
What a good line. 4, 3, 2, 1.
No scoring.
Time's up.
No scoring. Hoopa. No scoring. Hoopa. The eject button actually helped me a lot in that final fight.
You win.
GG's. 10 KOs. Not bad. Enemy Mewtwo got 14. Jeez. So we had the stronger Mewtwo on the enemy side by far, and we were still able to pull out a victory there in that final fight. Some pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff from the squad there. All right. For game 2 here, let's do Sand Tomb Stone Edge. Again, I like Sand Tomb more with Dark Pulse, but I just wanted to show off this moveset a little bit. All right, we're taking Tyranitar here to the top path. It looks like with Cramorant. Sounds good. Okay, Cramorant's leaving. No, Cramorant's coming back. And this is going to be a Sand Tomb game. We've got our Razor Claw, which works really well for the build that we're going to be playing. I love Razor Claw on this Pokemon in general. See if we can get this. Nobody's here. Gonna take that. We are not stacking here. I would love to score, but I'm happy to steal their farm in that moment. Playing a different build here. I think stacking is really good on this Pokemon. I'm gonna let him have his level 4. It's a pretty powerful level 4. Got it. Ooh, we're in trouble. Got to run. They got my focus band, but we did get that piece of farm there. They are going to be able to score here. Ooh, Mewtwo showed up. This is a KO. And maybe another. We got to watch out for the enemy Mewtwo that I'm sure is here. Big scores here. It's going to get me close to my level 5. There's that enemy Mewtwo. Back up here. Our Cramorant left for some reason. Got my evolution, but I'm going to go down if I don't eject here. I can try to come back. My Mewtwo's close to Megaing. Yeah, my Cram just left lane. I'm not sure what happened there, but okay. We've got our Stone Edge, which, as you can see, is getting bigger, hitting multiple enemies here. We're just going to have to run from Mewtwo. You know the Mewtwo meta. I can't fight Mewtwo as well as 2 other Pokemon on my pad alone, or for some reason my Cram has just left me. So we're gonna make do our best. And the nice thing with Stone Edge, it's not my favorite move for this Pokemon, but you do have it up constantly. It has like constant uptime, basically, if you're just juggling your Stone Edges right. It's like up, auto attack, hit, and then it's up again very, very quick. There's a ton of uptime. We're gonna chase with my team here. It looks like they want to fight something. I'm going to help them do that. I think we go down here. They get my focus band. I'm going to base real quickly. Looks like our Mewtwo fight on the goal zone didn't go too well. I'm going to head back to the top path, get my experience here. I'm not that useful to my team until I evolve, so I'm going to try to make that a priority. We got 2 of them here still. Oof. Didn't expect 2. I thought maybe we'd have 1 here. They actually have 2 here. I'm going to run to the bottom path. I'm not going to be able to fight 2 of them alone. Looks like my team's doing well bottom. I'm going to clear out center. They broke goal. That's great. I don't like taking center area Pokemon's farm here, but considering that they've got something else going on and I need my 9, I'm going to take it real quick here. 8.5. Getting very, very close. The break point is so massive on this Pokemon that you will peel away from moments to get your 9. You have to. It's too vital. I'm going to take this really quick, and then I'm going to try to base and defend. The one time Mewtwo's Unite move actually helped me farm rather than stealing it. All right, running top. Got my Sand Tomb. Got my Unite move. We're going to see what we can do. Pulling Mewtwo in here. Just uniting to get myself a shield and hopefully give myself a little more time. My team was not able to make it here in time. We're doing our best, though. Ooh, we get a KO on Mewtwo. Oh, almost got tree, too. So we lost top goal. Obviously, our Mewtwo fight did not go well. We've got the bad Mewtwo move, and I think they've got the good one, right? Yeah, they've got Future Sight. So we're a little behind Mewtwo-wise, but we're doing okay. Now we've got some options here. Gotta pick up some KOs. Just get ready for these next fights here. Tons of XP up here for us, too. We're gonna have to watch top path in this game with Reggie down. excuse me, with goal zone, with the top goal zone down, that Reggie is going to be really scary for us. For some reason, this Blissey is stealing farm, but also not running experience share. Oh, wow. Our Blissey's a troll. I didn't even realize. We got a troll Blissey. Maybe that's what's going on. Jumping on in here, picking up a nice double KO. Looking for a fight, but it doesn't appear that one's going on. Might move really close. Blissey jumping on in. Dang, Might Knight moved so close. Oh, I just got it by the time I went down there. Unfortunately, our Mewtwo is losing a lot of these fights. Got that one, though. That's good. I have to go top. I can't let them get that. Free. They have not started hitting it yet. Goal's at 46. Best thing I can do is just clear this really quick. I just don't want this walking towards our base. Or if it does walk, I want it walking there really fast. Lapras is here. Got it. Okay. He's gonna score 20. He's gonna put this goal at almost nothing. I'm gonna put 50 in. Quick score. I'm out of here. We're at that point where we could unite if we want to. We don't need to, though. Gonna eat some of that. Alright. Now we have a lot of experience to deal with. Up on the top path. And a buff. It looks like Mewtwo's not coming for it. I'm going to take it. Enemy team's pushing us around in the bottom path. I can come fight here. I don't want to unite right now. It's just too close. Unfortunately, my team is not... this Blissey's such a troll. Unfortunately, my team is not together here to stop that. That's okay, though. We all have Unite moves, even Blissey. And we're getting ready for our final moments here. We're behind, obviously, after that. It might not be terrible, because we had a good overcap top. We definitely need to fight together. If our Lapras can create an opening for us. We found Inteleon. I'm jumping. Unite moving. Okay, that's fine. Chasing. Mewtwo going back for Urshifu. Mewtwo's just running. That's 3 down. We're gonna start the rip here in 1 second. Someone needs to target Mewtwo. Dang, Blissey's basing. Mewtwo's basing. Dang. Okay. They got to get back in there. Good catch. He's closer to Mega-ing. We're back. Not over. Mewtwo is getting close to being down here. He might have reset, though. We have to catch Mewtwo. We're going to start this. We're going to have to force it. There's Mewtwo. Jumping over to get him. Got him. There was that eject button we talked about. And that's 5 down. Let's go. Nice. We got a good catch on that Mewtwo with that eject. That helped out a lot. Team needs to score. Blissey, get it in there. Yeah, buddy. Woo! Tough one. Tough fight at the end there for sure. You know, we did not have the kind of fight we wanted at the end. That Mewtwo on the enemy team zoned us out really well. But as we re-engage there, we had that Sand Tomb right into the eject button, like, so we could catch. And we got that catch, which is huge. And it actually plays pretty well into Mewtwo for that reason. Unfortunately, not able to use our Unite in a lot of big moments in that fight, but still. Big catch at the end there. Big catch at the end there. And in the end, our Mewtwo out-damaged him 122 to 97. It felt like he was getting, you know, dunked on pretty hard that game, but he got there at the end for sure. So there we go. A Tyranitar, that's a Sand Tomb game. Again, I'd rather be playing it with the other moveset. I'd rather do Dark Pulse, but I just wanted to show you the options for that move here in this game. All right, there you go. Little Sand Tomb action. I hope this guide for Tyranitar was helpful. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Now get out there and dive on those Mewtwo Ys. Let's take them down together. Love you all. Nerf Mewtwo Y. Yeehaw!